I've been using the iPhone SE 2 ever since it launched, and it's honestly surprised me in multiple ways. We all knew that this phone is going to be a great value and that Apple is going to sell a ton of them, but there were many things that I didn't expect, which I'll share in this video, and it's actually going to change my iPhone habits going forward. I'll also share 2 reasons why I'm going back to my 11 Pro, but these reasons might not matter to you. Let's start out with the first thing that I loved, and that is the size. Man, this thing feels so good in the hand. Now I know that this is basically just an iPhone 8 and this shouldn't be a surprise, but I've been using huge iPhones ever since the 6 Plus, 6S Plus, 7 Plus, and so on, all the way to my 11 Pro Max. I've often heard from the crowd that hates large phones that they will not upgrade until they get a new small phone, and honestly, I thought they were being a bit too dramatic. The iPhone SE and the 8 can't be that much smaller than a 10R or an 11, right? Well, once you've used them side by side like I did in the comparison, and especially if you're used to a smaller phone, the difference is quite noticeable. Going from the 11 Pro Max to the 8 is crazy. And even though I missed the big screen, the phone was so comfortable in the hand, it almost made the small screen worth it. Unfortunately, even though so much of this phone is from the iPhone 8, Apple dropped 3D Touch, which I loved. I expected to be disappointed having to go back to Touch ID after using Face ID for so many years, but man, is it quick! And in times like these where I am often using a mask, Touch ID works way better. I also found it faster to raise the phone and swipe left to open the camera app than to use the new long press on the camera icon. Pulling up for the control panel was so much easier than pulling from the top on my Macs, and not having tap to wake did suck at first, but then I just pressed the button if I wanted to see notifications, for example if the phone's on my desk. The one thing that I definitely really missed was the super fast app switching by sliding my fingers across the bottom bar on the new phones. The speakers are better than I expected, getting really close to the much larger iPhone 11, but just like the iPhone 8 and 10, the earpiece speaker is still quieter than on the newer phones, so if you're watching videos, it does seem a little bit out of balance having more sound coming from the bottom firing speaker. I definitely think that Apple could have made a few small improvements like the earpiece speaker, but I also understand why they didn't, because they really wanted to hit that $399 price point and spend the extra money on other things. Another thing that wasn't upgraded were the cameras. Now everybody expected the SE to have the same exact cameras as the iPhone XR and the XS, but that's actually not true. We first found this out in our comparison where the selfie camera could only record 1080p at 30 frames per second, where the XR could do 1080p 60 and the 11 could do 4K 60. This was really odd, and the only explanation was that Apple kept the same front-facing camera as in the iPhone 8. A few days later, iFixit published their teardown, and I was very surprised that the rear camera is also from the 8, meaning it is really old in terms of tech since the last 2 years brought major upgrades with larger, faster sensors. Now what surprised me even more than that was how good the photos looked. There was a huge difference in photo quality going from the iPhone 8 to the XR when we tested them, but the old sensors in the SE are now taking noticeably better photos than the XR and the XS. The dynamic range is better, detail is better, and even noise is lower. This just shows how much software and processing matters for photos, and Apple definitely knew that when they put the same A13 Bionic processor in this $400 phone that's in my $1,100 iPhone 11 Pro Max. Because of it, the SE has the new Smart Hdr Tech, and in good lighting, the images look as good as the iPhone 11 Pro, which is crazy. In lower lighting, the 11 looks better due to deep fusion tech, which isn't possible due to the slower sensor, and the same thing goes with night mode, which is a bummer. With that said, in pretty much every case, the SE beats out the iPhone XS and XR, which logically doesn't make sense because the hardware is older, but it does. I went ahead and set up a blind photo comparison that I'm gonna have Vadim do. So if you wanna see the SE stack up against these other iPhones, and if you wanna see if Vadim can actually tell a difference, make sure you guys are subscribed and you have notifications enabled. After testing it out, my view of the SE is much better than it was before, and I think that most people that have older iPhones are going to be extremely happy with it. At $399 for a 64GB model, I can see so many people who are hanging on to dying iPhones finally upgrading. I can also see a lot of people upgrading from budget Android phones, both old ones and new ones, and finally getting an iPhone because of the really low price, and that in turn is going to make Apple a lot of money on services down the line. Now, my two biggest complaints were the lack of the ultra-wide lens and the telephoto, which I love and use all the time, and the battery life. Now, I use my phone all the time, which is why I love the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which has a massive battery, but thankfully, from the comparisons I've seen online, the new SE actually can get about an hour extra screen on time compared to the iPhone 8, thanks to that new A13 processor. And of course, the SE does support fast charging that you have to buy afterwards. Apple's costs a lot, but I have a link in the video description to a charger that is certified and comes with a cable for only $17. Ultimately, I'm going back to my iPhone 11 Pro Max, but you can count on me finally breaking my huge iPhone trend that has been going on for many years, and next time around going for a smaller iPhone, all thanks to trying out the new iPhone SE. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Click that little circle above if you guys want to see our full review of the SE, and if you want to see the comparisons, we have some right over there. This has been Max, and I'll see you in the next video.